talking through the Charles Schwab Championship. Terrible golf for me last week. Sheets did okay, but I did not have a good week at all, and it was really tough getting those 6 of 6s. And it was, honestly, it was a lot of my chalk that hurt me. So ready to improve this week. Maybe the fact that Charles Schwab is a Santa Barbara guy is an omen for me to bounce back. Sheets, how you doing? Any overall thoughts on the slate before we jump into tier by tier?
Yeah, there's you have to make a decision right off the bat of what you want to do at the top, and I actually did spend a lot of work on it this week. It's a different challenge from a golf perspective, where last week you really needed to be able to hit the ball far. This week, apparently, according to everything that I'm reading, is kind of the opposite, that you want to kind of keep it in the fairway. And I mean, I guess we'll talk about him when we get to it, but I call it like the Brendan Todd course. You know what I mean? Like even if you weren't playing, that's the way I kind of describe them. You know what I mean? Like the ones that, you just want to keep it in the fairway, no big deal, get on the green, give yourself a shot birdie. If not, you're hitting par, you're not making bogeys, that type of thing. And I guess that's it with respect to preview. I mean, you have a couple of studs, but it's obviously not as stud heavy as a major. So we have a little bit of everything too.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me. And
yeah, let me share my screen actually.
Yeah. And well, this is it is weird. It is like, it's a little shock to the system. I just am annoyed by the whole live thing in general. I just want to get back to having all the best players play. It's just so much more fun when you have that, week in and week out, where most of them are. But at least we have a good field. It's not like we don't have, a lot of guys who are top players. We just don't have everyone. All right. So why don't you start off with the very top about who you do like in this high price range?
Yeah. So Scheffler is the best golfer in the world. And if anybody wants to argue Rahm, that's totally fine, but it's an argument you don't have to have this week because he's not in the field. So I think it's pretty safe to say that Scheffler is the best golfer in this field. And he's priced in a healthy manner at 11.5. But even given that, with his win odds and all this stuff, he's the best play, and he's going to be 40% owned, I believe. But there are guys in the 7K range, as usual, that you can use to get to him. So I'm not going to be the one to say don't play Scotty Scheffler. Although I will say that I'm playing, I guess, like 5 or 6 non-lottery type tournaments. I'll have like half of them with Scheffler, but not all of them. Mm-hmm. Just that's the way I like to play. Mm-hmm. I do like him, and then after that, there's a significant drop in my numbers to the other guys. They all look okay. Finau looks okay. Hovland looks good. Morikawa looks good. Homa looks good. They all look good. It's just hard to play them with Scheffler for openers. And it's hard to play them instead of Scheffler. It's just hard. I mean, you're definitely going to get a big ownership break, but they definitely project much worse. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I have no problem with any of them. I guess if you're not going to play Scheffler, my top guy, I guess. I mean, listen, I don't want to be biased because Hovland did me really, really nicely this past week. But I'll tell you this about Hovland: he's made a lot of improvements to the one part of his game that he used to struggle with the short game. Yep. He's making putts, he's chipping, and if he's actually developing a short game, that's like bad news for the rest of golf. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Like he's like going to be legit, in competition for the top 5 guys. Mm-hmm. So I'll say that. I guess that's pretty much all I have for this range. I mean, play Scheffler, and if not, the other guys are okay. That's the best I got.
Yeah, I don't have a strong conviction, a little bit similar to you outside of Scheffler as being a top play. I do think that you could make an argument for Hovland, and I think you could make a pretty good argument for Morikawa here. I actually feel like Morikawa has sort of been the forgotten guy, and he hasn't had as good a year, but you know, it was only a couple years ago. We're talking about this guy as being the next Tiger-like, and he won 2 majors in 20 and 21, and he'll bounce right back, and he has good moments. He just hasn't put together four great rounds in a tournament that we were heavy on, and that where he was able to win. So I actually think Scheffler and Morikawa are probably my 2 favorites, with Morikawa and Hovland being 2A and 2B from this group. But mostly it's going to be Scheffler for me. As usual, I will take the underweight stance on Finau. If he gets too low owned, though, I actually might reverse my talk a little bit. I mean, one thing is fading Finau outside of one tournament has really just been the move. Like, you know what I mean? He's always high owned. He's always expensive. But I do think that Scheffler, I have Scheffler 1, and then Hovland and Morikawa would be my next 2 favorite. But honestly, my 2nd and 3rd favorite golfers aren't in this range.
This is what I was going to say, is that I mentioned that I have about 6 lineups or so that are like above the lottery level, and I have like 2 or 3 of them with Scheffler, and the ones that don't have Scheffler, I don't have any of the others. You know, so those that range for me is kind of a dead range. I think. I guess what I would do is just go the lowest owned of those, and that would be Homa. That's like the only. I guess that would be my only comment, is if you really didn't feel like playing Scheffler and you really wanted to play up here, I guess Homa, just because it's the lowest owned. But that's all I have.
Yeah, and he hasn't played as well away from the West Coast, but we know he's capable of it for sure. He's certainly a very, very precise golfer. He's won on tough courses, all that stuff.
Yep.
All right, 9K range, Sheets. What do you got?
Yeah, so there's 3 main guys I want to talk about here. Total different feelings on all 3. I mean, throughout the course of me playing DFS. So first, there's Sungjae Im, who rates to be the best of the 9Ks for me, and he's as I mentioned, I mean, in tough fields, I can't play him to finish top 5. I just don't see it happening. But in a field a little worse, like this one, I think I can play him to finish top 5, so I don't mind him. But he's going to be owned at 20%, but that's fine. But the two kind of like polarizing guys this week under him are Fleetwood and Spieth. Okay, so
why is Fleetwood polarizing?
Oh, because everybody loves him this week.
Oh yeah, and it's kind of is it a little annoying because we've been talking about him every.
That's my point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll get to him in a second. So here's the Spieth thing. Okay, so Spieth apparently just. It's like the Larry Bird on the parquet floor on this course and like in this whole area. And that Spieth just is like the ultimate like course for course in this particular occasion. So he's actually projecting well, which almost never happens for him. Like him would always, it's like, well, he kind of looks like a good low owned play, whatever it is. He's actually projecting well, and he's actually getting owned, which makes me a little nervous. But he does rate really, really well for me. 20%, maybe it's okay. I don't know. I want your opinion on that. And Fleetwood is just, it's been all right there in front of us, But unfortunately, we haven't exactly like smashed with him. He's done great for us. You know what I mean?
I totally disagree with that one, but
no. What I mean is that we never we never made a fortune with him at 5% ownership. I mean, he's always gotten owned a little bit.
I had him at less than 1% when he finished 6th at the Players, I think it was.
Did you? I don't remember that.
Maybe he was 7th or something. He was right up there though, and he.
But he's been moving up. He's been showing up as a good play, and we've been playing him, and now he's on like the cover of Awesome Mo's the best play of the week. He's like, you know what I mean? He's like, now he's like 16 to 20% owned, which makes it a little harder. Now, with that said. He projects to me as the 5th best play on the slate. So I'm not going to let 15-16% bother me, and I'm going to play him. So that's my take on the 9Ks. And I don't even know if there's anybody else that I forgot, but I have literally, I want to say no interest. Oh, that's not true. So Justin Rose is the other guy who's a little bit annoying to me. I never like to play him, but he's showing up as an okay play also. So I think what happens is that if you don't play Scheffler, you definitely play one of the guys I mentioned between Im, Spieth, Fleetwood, and Rose. And if you play Scheffler, though, I don't know what you do with these guys. But they're certainly all good plays. How would you rank these guys? Im, Spieth, Fleetwood, Rose, Burns, I don't want to talk about. I mean, he literally was 10 over.
I mean, I can't blame anybody for what they did last week, especially because it was just such a ridiculous,
I get it.
Of course, and some people couldn't handle it.
Well, even Kirk looks okay. What do you like here?
So I love Fleetwood #1 in this group. Big
there
shot.
It is. Okay.
And the one thing it is like, while he may not have won tournaments, this guy he top 10s or top 20s every freaking big event.
He's outperformed his salary for sure.
Yeah, every time. It's literally been like the most consistent thing. Now his salary has jumped up a little bit, but I'm totally happy to go right back to him. I actually feel like this is a tournament he can win. Justin Rose has won here before and played well here, so I'm totally happy with Justin Rose, and he's in really good form again. Looked great last week. And the other guy I want to mention is the guy who's won this tournament the most times of anybody in the field, and that's Chris Kirk. He won it back-to-back years. It was a little while ago, but he's playing the best golf of his life now. I'll take Chris Kirk as a previous 2-time winner and at this course, as Rose has won on this course also. So I think that Fleetwood Rose, and Kirk, Fleetwood Rose, Kirk, and Spieth are my 4 favorites. I'm a little turned off by the ownership on Spieth when we've been getting him at like 5%.
Yeah.
But I hear you, and just the fact that he's so cheap. Like if you did want to make a Burn, I mean, so low owned. If you did want to play Burns, I have no problem with coming back to him after last week. I just think he had a bad week, and I don't want to put too much into it. Siwoo, I'll save for PGA courses, and that's pretty much my outlook of the range. I don't know what I'm going to do with Sungjae. The current plan is to probably fade him, even though
the one thing you could do, I mean, if you look at it, just my lineup builder up here. I mean, you could play Scheffler and Fleetwood. Mm-hmm. I mean, you totally make this work. I mean, there's plenty of 72, 7300s that you can play. And we'll get to those pretty quickly. So if you have a nice stake on Fleetwood, which you do, right? Mm-hmm. And you don't want to fade. I mean, you don't have to fade Scheffler to play Fleetwood,
right?
You might be more strained if you want to play, for example, like Scheffler and Spieth. Like you play Scheffler and Spieth. Now you just kind of it's just a little harder. I mean, you could do it, but it's just a little harder. And But honestly, I'm a little more comfortable with the way Fleetwood's playing than Spieth. If you want to know the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I did want to point out though is I do think that a common build outside of when you're not playing Scheffler, I think you're going to see a lot of Spieth with Sungjae. Okay. Because it just sort of builds out like, okay, that's the way to fade Scheffler, and that's what I think people will do. I'm just a prediction. All right, 8K range sheets. What do you got here? Because I actually think that it's a little drier than usual. You're not going to see as much ownership in this range because people are going to be playing those 9Ks a lot.
Yes. I like a couple of guys. I like Fowler at 8,900. I like Henley at 8,800. And then I do like a couple of other guys. I like Jaeger, Davis, and Harmon. So I do like 5 guys in the 8K range.
Yeah, it does feel like a better course fit for Harmon. It feels like strange to have him in this. Like I feel like these guys are, I don't know, maybe a little more upside. Maybe that's not even right. It just feels like I don't know, feels a little weird to me. I guess I'm just used to paying 6,800 for him in all the big tournaments,
right?
That are supposed to be all lefty suited, and somehow he never does anything. Also, he missed the cut on the number for me last week, which he was one of my guys. All right, I like a little bit of different guys. I like Taylor Moore, and I'm fine with Jaeger, but I don't have a huge draw to it. I'm okay with Moore and Jaeger. I'm gonna at some point get my money from Minwoo Lee, but this is probably not the right course for it. Russell Henley and Fowler, I agree. I like both those guys. It's interesting because Cam Davis has been playing much better and sort of showing some of the upside that we thought was going to come with this guy for a while. But I still feel a little hesitant. And also part of his strength is being able to hit the ball really far. And the fact that that's not exactly the benefit of this course makes me a little bit less on him, sort of in the same realm, the same vein as Minwoo. So I guess if I had to pick, I would say Taylor Moore, Ricky Fowler, Russell Henley as my 3 favorites as of right now. but I don't feel great about any of them, to be honest with you. So maybe I do play 2 spend ups and go down into the 8K, into the 7Ks. Maybe that's what I end up doing. 7,500 to 8K.
75,
79.
70. What do you want? 7,600, 7,500.
Sorry, 7,500 to 79. Excuse me. That's what I meant to say.
I actually only like 3 guys in that range. The top guy and the only one guy I like in a bunch, and that's Patrick Rogers. I have Patrick Rogers in a bunch right now, and then it's kind of a drop for me to Ryan Fox would be the next one, and then the only other one I had in my list really was Kurt Kitayama. So I actually have what's his name is kind of a just because the way I built. We'll go over that when we do the live build later. I just have more Patrick Rogers than I'm supposed to probably. So I have Patrick Rogers is a big part of my builds, and then Ryan Fox is next, and then Kurt Kitayama. That's my 3.
Yeah, same page with you with Patrick Rogers right off the bat, which I like. So we're in agreement there. I am struggling outside of him what I want to do. You mentioned Brendan Todd at the top.
Yeah.
I actually think that this might be a week that I do play Brendan Todd.
Yeah, sure.
So I had him on my pretty high on my list. I actually think like Kitayama is kind of quietly. He's actually played the long courses really well, which this doesn't suit. But he's just been he's in. I mean, he's really jumped up in the overall rankings and everything. I'm okay with Kitayama. I like Brendan Todd, and I like Patrick Rogers. I'm pretty wish-washy on everybody else in this range.
Okay.
Benny On is probably worth like a little bit of a. No one's going to play him in the 7,900. I don't see him as being any worse than these guys personally. All right, 7,400 through 7K.
I actually have 4 guys that should I say stand out? Yeah, pretty much. So I have 4 guys that stand out over the others, at least the way I'm looking at it. And it's kind of ridiculous to say with this range, but that's what I have. And I'll just kind of list them. That would be JT Poston, Nick Taylor, and these guys are all 10% plus, so it's not like anything's earth-shattering here. Hayden Buckley, another one that's probably going to be owned. And then Eric with a C. Cole. And those are my top 4. And again, all those guys are 10% plus. So it's not as if any of those guys are going to be like really off the board, but those are the guys that stand out for me.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of guys to consider down here, and that's partly why I'm like, been trying to figure out my earlier things. Like Bo Hostler. I like Bo. Let's see, but Bo Hostler. I was very upset that Svensson was out because he would have been my guy in this range. Nick Taylor, I agree. I'm on board with that one. Poston, I'm wishy-washy, but I like him a little bit. Sam Stevens has been playing really, really well, and I feel like this might be another time to just sort of ride the wave or whatever with him. And Joel Dahman and Will Gordon are my last guys in, but they're going to be very unowned, the last 2. But again, I'm not finding Eric with a C. Cole, as you mentioned, is my favorite play. I forgot to mention that one. But Sam Stevens and Stevens, Dahman, and Gordon at the bottom, I have a little bit of interest in each. All right, Sheets, under 7K.
All right, so I'm going to talk to you about, well, I'll throw a couple out there, but I'm going to talk to you about one guy in particular, right? Just because I spent like a half an hour on him. So I want to talk to you about Ben Griffin for a minute.
Yeah.
Because he's the best play I have under 68, under 7K. But and if it weren't for just like a lot of like digging on my spreadsheets and stuff, I would have ended up with like 85% of him. Okay. What had happened was, and just like really sort of behind the scenes stuff. So I was running different things. And I was looking at different sites, different models, and doing my aggregation, and then like overweighting and underweighting and doing my stuff. And every time I did it, I was getting like 70% Ben Griffin. So I had to actually go into the individual numbers and the individual stats and individual models and see what the hell was going on. And it's actually one site that's just like like wildly over, I would say overvalued, whatever, wildly outliering him over everybody else. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to presume that they just kind of like off their rocker. So and that's how you like analyze numbers. But then even when I backed them out of the equation, he still ended up like the best of the under 7Ks. Okay. So I don't have him at like 80% or anything like that, but still he rates as the top for me under 7K.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll throw one more. I'll throw in Mark Hubbard as another one.
Yeah, I'm in on Ben Griffin. I actually think he's going to be more owned than the projections have him. Other guys I'm considering: Scott Stallings. An interesting one that I think would have been really popular if this tournament was played before he blew up in that, what was it, 2 weeks ago? Michael Kim. I think he's reasonable. And I think Matt Wallace is very reasonable here. He's, again, he hasn't been like the best, but he did make the cut last week in a much tougher field. I did forget to mention Sepp Straka and Aaron Rai in the previous run because they're at the bottom of the 7Ks. Just wanted to throw those guys out there at 7K flat. I think Hubbard is fine, and I like Dylan Wu. There's actually a lot of guys. I think I'm actually preferring the 6K, going down to the 6K range than maybe playing some of these 7K guys. I like Dylan Wu. I obviously always have a little bit of the general. And I think Lee Hodges is reasonable. I don't even mind taking a shot on Garrett Higo, but the guy I want to mention is that I'm going to have to do it again. I don't know if I'm going to do it in my big buy-ins. It's not the right week for it, but I'm going to have to play Scott Piercy again a little bit. And I'm going to have to play a little bit of Pearson Coutier, who's really been letting me down. But I just think the upside in the future of this guy will catch up. And I think Carson Young is another one that I think is definitely a guy who you're catching on the way up. So Piercy and Cam Young, and Carson Young, along with Kazire and Wu and Wallace being the guys I'm using down here. But I do think that I do think that I'm going to end up with multiple 6K guys. So it's going to be pretty easy if I want to for me. Oh, Kramer Hickok too at 6K flat. All of these guys seem good enough to me to definitely play. And I think that's going to be the way that my builds go. I think I'm going to end up with the double, either a Scheffler and whatever, two guys over 9K, probably one or two under 7K. And that's probably going to be the natural way I start my builds this week. All right.
Before we get into the contest here, let me see who I want to put something in the sports book here. Because I had a good sweat at 35-1 with Hovland. And so I'm a little bit juiced here. So let me just see if there's anything, but it's got to stand out. I had, by the way, from last week.
I think Fleetwood already dropped. He went from 35-1 down to, he was 35-1 to start the week.
Well, last week I had Hovland and Cam Smith. Boy, nothing really looks great. I mean, I'm staring at this.
What about your previous two-time winner?
I'm thinking about that.
That's actually not a bad one.
Henley. Brendan Todd is 70-1.
I'm just going to throw out that if there was an upset for Eric, if there was a tournament Eric Cole was going to win, this could be the one.
Think so?
No, I mean, I think he and Nick Taylor are like guys who you could see. It's hard to picture them winning, but I could see them in like the sneaky top five.
All right, this is what we're going to do. I know exactly what we're doing. Okay, you ready? Hold on. Let's just make sure that it allows him to do. Okay, I just figured it out. It just totally hit me, guys. This is who we're betting. We're going to bet, again, $50. Not going crazy. We're going to go $50 on Tommy Fleetwood just for the brand.
Yep.
And I saw the other one down the list. We are going to bet $50 on Patrick Rogers.
Oh, yeah.
At 80-1, just for funsies.
All right.
Okay. All right, so that's that. Now let's get back to reality here, and let's get back to the contest. So we're gonna go over who we think is gonna win the tournament. We're gonna go over top play under 10K. That's gonna be top 5. Top play under 9K. That's gonna be top 10. Top play under 8K. it's going to be top 20, top play under 7K that's going to make the cut, and top play over 9K that's going to miss the cut. So who is? I'll start first. I'll give you a chance to. I'll give you a chance to be a hero. And I will say that Scotty Scheffler is going to win the tournament.
Okay. And I totally agree with this as a logical thing, but I mean, I really think that there's a lot of other guys. I'm tempted. You know what? I'm going to do it. I have some guys I could mention the 10K range, but I think I'm going to just go ahead and say Tommy Fleetwood is going to win this tournament.
I wanted to give you that shot to be the hero.
I'm going to say it. All right.
Fair enough.
Rolling on Fleetwood.
Under 10, now, so you can go first. For under 10K, who's not named Fleetwood to come in the top 5?
I'm going to go with one of the lower owned guys, and as I mentioned, the previous 2-time winner. Just to be a little bit, keep my off the boardness a little bit, then I'll go Chris Kirk instead of the obvious guys.
Boy, this is really, really hard. I'm just going to tell you right now, the answer is Fleetwood, but he's on the board already. You know what I mean? Because you used him to win the tournament. Now we want to get 10.
Yeah, I think it's fair.
10 golfers in the list. So I will go with Sanjay.
With who?
With Sanjay M.
Sanjay? Okay, that means that's how I'm going to get my M exposure from this game.
Yeah.
All right, under 9K.
Wait, who did you take?
By the way, I really like Justin Rose. I'm just throwing that out there too. I took Kirk.
Oh, okay.
I actually like Justin Rose probably as a better play than Kirk, but I don't know. That's true. I think I like both of them a lot.
Under 9K to make top 10.
Boy, can you go first on this one? I'm having a little trouble with this one.
Yeah. I am going to go with, I'm going to go with Russell Henley.
So you're going to go with Henley. I guess I'm going to go with Fowler, but I don't really
That was going to be my other one.
Feel great about it. Okay, Fowler, Henley.
Oh, good. So Henley and Fowler.
Yeah.
You can go first if you want. Under 7K to make the top, under 8K to make the top 20.
Under 8K, the guy I forgot to mention before is probably going to be, well, you know what? I like Nick Taylor. I really like Sepp Straka, but I also really like, maybe I'm making a mistake here. I'm going to let you have your guy, so I'm trying to avoid him especially. But I guess I'm going to go ahead and say, I guess I'm going to say Nick Taylor, even though a little nod to Straka too out there.
You know, Nick Taylor, and I'm going to go with Patrick Rogers.
That's who you knew you were going to go with, Rogers. All right.
Who under? Oh, it's so funny. Like, you want to play a middling build? Like, I'm just basically like crossing guys out so I can fit these guys in here. So if you don't want no Scheffler and no like Spieth or whatever, I mean, you can do this. This is like total like Sheets builds. You know what I mean? Like nobody over 9,100. Like, you know?
Yeah.
All right. So who under 7K do you have making the cut?
I'll go with Ben. I will take Ben Griffin as my favorite, but I did mention that I do like a lot of these guys, and I think that I'm going to have like 8 to 10 in my pool, and I think I'll probably be mixing and matching my Wallace and Piercy, some of my other darlings who have helped me in the past.
So since we have a Ben Griffin and a Nick Taylor, I'm going to go with Ben Taylor. How about that?
Oh, I didn't even think about Ben Taylor. I actually didn't even notice the price on them. What is
6,200?
Wow, you went down there for the. That's where did that come from, Sheets?
I was just looking at
There you go.
Wait, is that the guy I met? Hold on a minute. Let me just double check.
It probably is.
No, hold on. I just want to make sure it was the guy I met. That's all. There was a guy that I thought I had a decent amount of it under 7. No, it was Griffin. Oh, sorry, the other Ben. Sorry, Ben Martin. Sorry about that.
I get those two guys mixed up every single time.
Sorry about that. Ben Martin. Yeah.
Ben Martin. All right.
Now, of course, Ben Taylor was going to win the tournament now. That's okay.
Right.
And I have to have one lineup with him now. See what I did? I have to have a lineup with Ben Taylor now.
Gotta throw one in.
It's got to be in.
All right. So what are we doing as far as
over 9K to make
9K? Yeah.
I think there's a bunch of guys you could play.
I do too. I know who you're gonna pick.
No, I'm not gonna show any revenge. It's fine.
No, I don't think it's revenge. I just know who you're gonna pick.
It's so interesting.
I'm gonna say Siwoo Kim.
Yeah. I just can't be so angry at him for so I'm not going to be angry at him. I'm going to I'm going to go on tilt. I'm going to go you know what? I don't care. I'm mad at him. I'll go with Burns.
I figured that's what I thought you were going to.
Yeah, I'm still mad.
All right, cool. Well, I think we have a nice little pool. It should be a fun tournament. I will post my early builds in the Discord channel.
Wait, who did you pick to miss the cut?
I picked to miss the cut.
Kim, right?
What flat 9K Siwoo.
Siwoo Kim?
Yeah.
I'm just putting this in here. So this is like going to be the winning lineup. So Kim,
Siwoo, Ben Martin.
Kim, Burns, Ben Martin.
Who else did we not like?
Oh, I know the guy that nobody wants to play. Like the lowest owned play of the week. Now, what's the guy's name? The guy, the PGA professional from last week? Who's
I honestly, Michael
Block. Like he's like a lock this week because no one is playing him.
It's so funny that no one. I mean, it's funny that they made him 6,900 first of all, but it's funny that like, I mean, you know.
So this is the core: Siwoo Kim, Sam Burns, Ben Martin, M Block, and and then just play every combination with these four. That's it.
I don't mind that actually. Like as a, you know what's crazy is I wouldn't like think you were nuts like for playing.
It's like Tiger in this somehow, like or like Mickelson or somebody like that. Like it's like.
By the way, Mickelson at least made the cut last week. Jesus.
Did he really?
Yeah, he made the cut pretty.
No, not Ben Martin. Sorry, it's the other one. It's Ben Taylor.
Oh yeah, you need Ben Taylor, not Ben Martin.
We did it again. So
impossible.
Siwoo Kim, Sam Burns, Ben Taylor, M Block,
and then I think your next one would probably be like a Homa, right?
Who won this last year?
Last year, let me just grab my notes.
No one will play him either, whoever that is.
Last year was Sam Burns.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? This is awesome.
I'm actually going to play a little bit of Sam Burns this week.
We have to do this. Is everybody still mad at Minwoo Lee? Maybe he'd be a good one.
Minwoo Lee, yeah, he's one.
Who's like the guy?
Minwoo played the
guy that's like the long hitter that can't benefit from a course. It's like Joseph Bramlett or something like that.
No, Minwoo hits the ball further than anybody.
Oh well, then he's the other one.
Well, basically, that's. You know what though? I say that because I hear people say that in golf, and I realize now that they say it about like 40 different guys. They just say, "Oh, he hits the ball further than anybody does." I'm just like, it can't be true for everybody.
Right, and then Sanjay, and then Sanjay M, and then leave 300 on the table. That's
there it is. There's the winner that we will.
There's the winner.
One lineup, only one lineup will have this. It will not be duplicated. Sheets. It'll be Sheets' lineup alone.
It will be Sheets. Dude, you watch. It's gonna have a 37-person train.
All right. Well, we'll be back with the basketball show and I'm sorry, baseball show. And Sheets, you ready to get out of here?
Yeah.
All right. Good luck, everybody. And we'll I'll post my content in the premium Discord.